Welcome everyone back to episode 11, all about the Orville comments. And for any newcomers, it's where we will go over the episode comments from our review episode, and then we'll respond. And you guys asked a lot of great questions, some long questions. We love that.
Yeah.
It just shows you that there's so much to think about in this show.
Yeah, it's engaging.
It's such an engagement with the audience, which is awesome, and that's great. I love that you guys leave these really thoughtful comments. Yeah. So we start with the top comment, and then we work our way down. At the number one spot, we have the Bibbo Seas. Again, I apologize if I mess up a username, but it's going to be up on screen so you guys can see it. Guys, this episode was a parody of issues one would see in Human Resources Department. We have 1, Yampit being hazed and claiming hostile work environment. 2, the doctor accusing Yampit of sexual harassment. 3, Lamar being forced into a promotion for affirmative action reasons over the more experienced Yampit. 4, Ed dealing with learning that he was promoted for reasons other than his achievements. And I kind of see that. But again, the sexual harassment thing was more of last episode.
Yeah, I don't think that was kind of muted. I don't think that was really... All she said, this better not be a social visit, and he goes, no. So that wasn't really...
He actually did have a medical reason to be there.
Yeah, he did have a reason to be there. So I kind of don't think this episode had anything to do with sexual harassment. I think that was in the background, if anything.
The hostile work environment, I can't deny that. Because he did go to the captain about it, so that is like a human resources thing.
It is.
And it's funny because you brought that up. I think that Kelly was like the HR lady, because
basically.
she's going to try to figure things out. And the forced promotion, well, if he wouldn't have done well with this task, they wouldn't have promoted him. I guarantee it. So it wasn't like, you're head of engineering here, figure this out. Oh, take the lead on this assignment and see how you do. So it really wasn't, the promotion didn't happen till the end.
Exactly.
That's after he already got that whole bubble thing invented and stuff.
And again, they also showed how well he worked with his crew once they got the idea to use that bubble to get into that two-dimensional world to hide from the krill. I mean, you had Isaac and Yampit and friggin' Lamar just clicking like they were just...
And it wasn't, again, like in the affirmative action, but here's the thing. Could there be anything more affirmative action than an actual alien?
Yeah,
could it be even more? And he actually is smart.
Yes.
He wasn't just some guy like, he's African-American, he's black, just put him there. No, he actually had ability.
Yeah, if you remember the beginning of the episode, even Kelly said, besides Isaac, he's probably the smartest person on the ship. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, he was, at least when it came to the smart side, they just had to know if he had the ability to work to be a leader. Yeah, to be practical about it.
Yeah, I guess the test was more on seeing how well he works as a leader as opposed to, is he smart enough?
Yeah.
Because he's obviously smart enough. And in the same thread, we have people, we're going back and forth on this. 90 Lancaster says, on reflection, Lamar is the opposite of affirmative action, as they want to promote him over Yampit because they think he's got a higher engineering aptitude. I'm not sure if it's fair to Yampit, but it's also not like his predecessor Newton, who made a recommendation one way or the other, even though Lamar helped him with the drive upgrades some weeks previous. Yeah, they did bring that up, that he was down there helping with that. Yeah. I would think that such a situation might have been better integrated with the previous episode somewhat by showing Newton wanting to leave due to being in the place his best friend died in. Yeah, that would have been a good... And maybe that had something to do with it too.
Maybe.
Because remember that one guy did die down in engineering?
But again, if that episode was more about had to do with Lieutenant Catan as opposed to, hey, we're going to... I think that would have been too much to put that in one episode.
Yeah, but it does make sense though. Maybe that was just another factor for him.
Yeah, I think that was, but not actually adding that whole premise of Lamar in that episode with Catan. That would have been too much to put in that
See, I didn't even think about that. But
that's a great point, by the way.
Lancaster continues on, and not simply because it was for his career. I certainly say that was a valid subtext, though. Also, there's similarities with the idea that Alara's competency worries, as she is seemingly bootstrapped by Kelly too. But they didn't really mention that she knew her before, except in passing. I do wonder if Gordon will admit if he's actually a very competent computer specialist, as well as being in all the other respects, as they have shown he is quite talented AI programming, especially in regards to the environmental simulators. I consider the whole thing with Lamar a bit of a fake out, as there is a lot less foreshadowing there than there was with Gordon. If anyone was pretending to be an idiot, it would be him. It was him, but perhaps it was both of them. Perhaps the real joke is that Gordon won't change his behavior in any negative way to his friends. Instead, he might come out of his shell and be and transfer his wackiness to Isaac a bit more. We do get flashes of him being serious too. And I really am not a fan of the furniture guy. He seems like a workplace horror story brought to life. The guy with the
I know.
He's like, he's trying to be interesting, but he's just not. Like,
you're just a boring guy, you know. He's just kind of blasé.
You're not doing anything wrong. It's just like, I don't like you.
The way you come off is just so off-putting, you know.
He's as boring as vanilla ice cream on a summer sidewalk on a clear day.
Like, even when they were talking about, like, we might be flying pancakes. Someone say pancakes. No, not those kind of pancakes. Don't worry about it. We're not talking about food right now.
The kids were fine this time. They weren't asshats this time. Finn's children. So that's cool that they're still in the show and it wasn't just a one-off. They actually have a friendship with Isaac. I think that's cool. They have those connections.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still there. Like, oh yeah, those kids.
Like, if you didn't watch that episode, you'd be like, whoa, what the heck are these kids?
Yeah, exactly.
But it shows there's
that familiarity connection, definitely.
The 2D world was beautiful. It reminded me of Tron in the 1980s. Toyland that revolved around, instead of computers, that related objects, as also somewhat 2001 and Tron and Reboot. I remember that show, Reboot. That was fun.
Reboot's a real good thing. It's actually a ride in Las Vegas. It used to be in the
long time ago.
Circus. Yeah, it's not in the anymore. But yeah, it was a fun ride.
The way the ships glided into the plane was visually appealing. Yeah, I remember like when you go in there, they kind of like hit a wall, then they like shrink in, and then they
that was cool.
That was a cool visual look. You said a lot there, and I do agree with you when it comes to the because again, it is kind of an opposite of, because he was promoted because of his aptitude, not because of just the color of his skin.
Yeah,
so it's not
really matter. It didn't really matter. And you mentioned Malloy. It's funny. I don't think Malloy's used. I think he's good at what he does, but I don't think he has the.
Because he did program like all those.
I think that's a little bit easier to do than people give. It's not like Star Trek.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. I think he did it because it was something he was interested in. But could he program something that was useful? No, I don't know if he could. Maybe he could if he put his mind to it. I just don't think. Again, I think he likes piloting. That his passion is.
That's why he's good at that. But like, as far as like, look at all the simulations. You had samurai ogres. And you had
the Wild West dance off.
Dance off. Like, okay, why'd you do it like that?
He's got them all fooled.
Because girls just want to have fun. It's kind of in that simulator.
So moving on to another new topic, new commenter, Jonathan Earl. It'll be interesting to see Yampit's true role on the ship as the alien he is. We know he's capable of being a valuable engineering, but he also has other abilities as well. Like Odo, he's capable of sliding through closed doors, as he did in this episode to get into Mercer's quarters. I'm still waiting on Yampit to give himself a humanoid form at some point later on in a season. Also, Lamar shows he can be serious about his job by speaking up for Yampit when Lamar hears that they're going to disrespect Yampit in the shuttle. And that'd be kind of funny, because in that time you can just need like how, because Odo is ooze, but he has a humanoid form.
Yeah.
See, and Yampit's always, because would he still be see-through? Like a big green see-through man?
I don't know. It'd be kind of weird. Like, I don't know how they would do that, but that would be interesting if they finally did that.
And in the same thread, we have Francesco Cavallo. Again, I probably keep saying your name wrong, but I'm so sorry. But yes, now that we know that the Orville universe has portable holographic emitters, as shown in episode 6, the Krill, of course, Norm Macdonald could play himself. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be an easy way to get around it, but then you have to use it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, would he just be a big green see-through man? Like, that'd be kind of funny.
That would be kind of fun.
So, again, going back to that same topic, 90 Lancaster says, I keep thinking they're going to make major changes to Isaac's, or introduce an evil Isaac, perhaps as people manage to persuade the Krill to take an observer too. So an identical unit has spent the last year on a Krill ship. We already know Isaac has some moral gray areas and would likely be easily persuaded to cut someone's head off, etc. He was also if he was influenced by the Krill might see him as a device and outside of the boundaries of their religious teachings. But they have enough sense not to say no to a race with superior tech. I can see them doing interesting things with Isaac's race eventually, especially once Isaac has the time to adjust to the Union types more. What would be interesting that they have so much potential as they have to take him and what to do with him. He could end up stuck in the ship's computer for a bit. He could get a humanoid appealing holographic body or a whole bunch of other things. Introducing him being the most suitable for the evil twin tropes. Oh, again, when you say evil twin, I just think of
lore.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost too easy not to make that happen. But I don't think the Krill would take a...
No, I think their religious fervor is so strong. They go, well... We don't even think other sentient beings have souls, so what about a machine? They're going to see him? No, they wouldn't.
Because you know how even on the Orville, he's like, I am superior to all you people. Yeah. I'm here because my people want me to be here, but I think all organic life is below me. Do you really think another quote unquote Isaac on a Krill ship would hold this time? You'd kill him for that.
Yeah, exactly. I could see him on a Kelvin ship because they see them as equals. I could see that, but as far as
those red people.
Yeah.
But maybe they capture one during something, and then you can set up that evil twin scenario.
Geez, they're really strong. I mean,
yeah. Unless they disabled them with like some type of like EMP weapon or something. But that's something that could happen.
Yeah,
they get you thinking about all these different.
This
kinds
comment
of things.
I think is very interesting because they never do with the episode, but I think it's a very good comment because it's explaining what do you think they could do with Isaac in the future. That's interesting. That's a possibility. And
then Jonathan Earl responds with that evil Isaac would be the lore of Orville, leaving normal Isaac as Data's counterpart. I also noticed that the two lore A's in Data and Isaac. Yeah, there's if you don't see the similarities between these two characters, except for Isaac is like the kind of jerk version of Data, where
exactly.
Data was blunt, but he was never like mean about it. Isaac straight up mean
Data
about it.
kind of has innocence about it, and Isaac is a little bit more sharp in the way he says things.
And Data was striving to be more human. Isaac just wants to understand humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the difference.
Similar but different goals.
Definitely.
I still love Isaac. He's great.
He's his favorite character.
Yeah. So next comment again. I'm apologizing on these usernames. Demon Ronco. It's going to be up there so you guys can read it. In this episode, there is a moment that blew my mind. The moment that when the three engineers were mocking Yampit and Lamar scolds them. We return to the console. Isaac looks at Lamar, and for a moment, he sees the potential as him as a leader, and then saying nothing because there was nothing else to add. That moment for me was perfect. About the human future, the idea of inventing food synthesizers as the main way to solve all major problems doesn't sound right. After all, what humanity really needs, at least in my opinion, is lots of energies, clean if possible. That's why I say in Avengers, they say that Tazarac can be the solution. About the next episode and having the mind that episode 13 was pushed to season 2, I think Malloy is most likely a candidate for having a huge cliffhanger for the next episode. By now, he is an interesting character and hasn't been shown in depth, which makes you wonder about his backstory. Kind of killing him before season 2 can work in a way to keep fan theorizing about it, building the type for more of the Orville. And yes, Tron was the first thing that came to mind. When you brought up at the very beginning that scene, I know we didn't talk about it, but that was a good scene. Remember when, like he said, when they came and they were kind of talking crap about Yampik, and then he's like, "Hey guys, we failed as a team."
Yeah,
he had an idea. I thought it was great. I was the leader. So if you want to talk crap, you talk crap to me because I made the call.
Yep,
and that's how a leader does it because you are a team.
Even though Yampit was rude to him at first, that's not the point. Because they were really being mean to him unfairly. And he's like, hey, wait a minute. We all screwed up.
Yeah, I didn't hear any ideas coming from you three.
No, exactly.
So would you chuckleheads shut up and get to work?
Yep.
We had to, and again, this is a life or death situation, too. So even though they were kind of, and Yampit did seem down, it's like, man, my idea didn't work.
Yeah.
That's why he's like, oh, is there anything I can do? And he's just trying to be helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Lamar kind of gives him busy work, but just to show that you're still part of the team.
Yep.
And I think that's a good... I'm sorry we didn't bring that up in our initial review, but it was a great scene.
It was.
I don't know, I guess it just flew over my head.
And then, like you said, Isaac does look at him like, you did good. You almost had kind of approval.
But I think Isaac's starting to learn humanity a little bit more, and he realized, you know what, saying nothing would be better than trying to say something.
Yeah, exactly.
But he did give him... It's funny... Isaac can't give a look, but he gave a look somehow.
He did.
2 eyeballs.
He's a man of so much emotions for being a machine.
Yeah, with 2 glowing blue spheres, he emoted more than most characters do in other shows. It's crazy.
Exactly.
I love it.
It's amazing.
That was a great... Thanks for bringing that up, because I don't know why that totally slipped my mind, but that was a great
and then
scene.
you were talking about the energy. It's funny. Yeah, but with the more abundance of energy, we would get replicators eventually.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes with that.
Yeah, once we figure out... this is outside of the Orville, but just for humanity. Once we get energy that's fast, clean, and super cheap, that's when we can start shifting towards the next level of civilization.
Yeah.
The type 2s, and then start getting to that.
Yeah, you get the type 1s and 2s. Yeah, that's when you get all the resources of your sun. And
just look up type 2 civilizations. There's so many great documentaries about how the human race can get to that next level.
Yeah, I think it's the Rinsky scale or something like that. I'm probably saying it wrong.
But yeah, it's great stuff, because once if we can figure out like a dark matter energy, fusion energy.
Once you get fusion and antimatter energy, you're getting light speed ships would not be far fetched, and time back to Orville, that wouldn't be such a crazy concept anymore.
See, and once we have abundant energy, then the things like there will be no starving people. Everyone will have electricity.
A lot of the social ills will go away because there'll be no need.
And if the energy's clean, then that's 90% of pollution. We just have to learn how to get along together. That's going to be the big
hard part. That's not what the discussion is.
Yeah.
But that's just what you were talking about in the comments.
And talking about Malloy, if he might be the one with the cliffhanger, I don't want a cliffhanger because we're going to have, 11 months?
Yeah.
10 months between seasons?
Exactly. And we're kind of hearing things about some of the characters, so we don't know. So we're just going to leave it kind of at that.
Drake Godzilla, Isaac's best line, "Are we bonding?" is another good episode. That was a funny line. He's like, "Oh, an animal for companionship. You pet it and stuff." He just goes up to him and pets him because he sees the humans as like below him.
Yeah.
He just pets
Is that
him.
okay?
Is this working?
Is it working?
That'd have been funny. Like, yeah, it's totally working, man.
I should have said that. That'd been great.
Next comment. Yule S. Ulysses. Again, look at that name. Try to say that one.
I'm gonna say less.
Yeah.
We'll just go with that.
Again, it's up there. Sorry if you butcher your username. I love the Orville also. Fun to relive the episodes with you guys. Thanks for your podcast. Oh, you're welcome. We love doing them.
Oh, they're
we love
awesome.
talking to you guys. The comments. You guys bring up so much cool stuff that I didn't even think about. And it's just like reliving the days being back in high school where I'd watch a new episode of Next Generation and then go talk about it.
Exactly.
But I get to do it with thousands of people out there, potentially. Millions of potential people. That's just cool.
Well, and then also in one of the comments, I don't know if they're coming up or not, but you were mentioning parallels between Lamar and Geordi La Forge.
Yeah, that happens. Even the name, the sounding of the names.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun stuff. So we have Jonathan Earl, another great episode, another 24th century Star Trek-like episode where the crew has set aside their differences and work as a team with their capabilities to get themselves out of a dangerous and hopeless situation. I like that they're doing the Lamar turning into more of a serious asset of the crew of the Orville. I also didn't like Lamar at first, but now that I see him become the chief engineer and has a more serious attitude, I believe he's just may become a more likable character in the future episodes. We'll see. I now see LaForge and Lamar connection, a young black male engineer. I also thought of Lamar as the Travis Mayweather of the Orville. He also piloted the ship on occasion, and he sat in the same spot Mayweather did on the NX-01 Enterprise. And yeah, the parallels are there. You can't deny them, but they work.
I think I would see more of the LaForge than I would Mayweather. That's there too, but I definitely see more LaForge.
Because LaForge was at comms.
Almost the same spot, yeah.
And yeah, young black guy, he gets put in engineering. And I've always liked all the characters, but I would agree Lamar was probably my least favorite just because he didn't have really much to do.
I like Millard because he's like an everyday guy. Yeah. His attitudes that 2017 had. That's what I liked about him. Yeah. What's going on, man? When he first sees Mercer, it's not...
Yeah, he's like that guy you worked with that one time at a
UPS.
Yeah, just a regular bread and butter kind of guy. But I am glad that they gave him more to do. Mm-hmm. So there's more to like about him. I didn't dislike him, but there was just nothing to like. Now there's more things to like.
It's kind of funny, too. There was hints at it, though. Now I'm thinking about it, because I thought I should have said something, but in an earlier episode, remember when they were being attacked by that Krill ship, and they went off to the colony thing? Mm-hmm. Well, they were trying to do a tactic, and Lamar came up with an idea. Well, if we do the missiles in this trajectory, we should be able to get away from those guys. They're all like, well, that was kind of smart that Lamar came up with that all of a sudden.
Because he is a smart guy.
He's a smart guy, that's why.
So we have Harrison Smith. Favorite one so far. Love the 2D effects. It's funny. It's one of those hard things to think of a two-dimensional world. What would it look like? It's so conceptual.
Yeah. All you can say is flat, but outside of that, what does it look like flat? See, that's hard to kind of put that to paper and put that on, visual CGI. But I think they did a great job. So,
same commenter. This is a kind of a longer one, so we'll probably stop every paragraph and then comment. Looking back, I can see where you're coming from, but honestly, they did a fair job for the task at hand. Creating a 2D world, how are you supposed to portray that? Doing the flattening of 3D objects would look quite cheesy. Having a colorful, happy-ish plasma flow could be interesting, but again, somewhat cheesy. A realistic portrayal, maybe? Something like particles moving and interacting, like in a Petri dish? Nah, that would feel weird. See what I mean? The Tron style might not be professional, but at least it felt like something that's really going on and not just a blank texture. Felt like a circular was some type of city. Again, were they looking at a city? Were they looking at a galaxy? What was it?
I'm pretty sure it was it's such a foreign dimension. They're like their level of understanding couldn't even comprehend what it was.
Yeah.
It's just weird. To them, see, the 2D people, it makes sense what that was. But to us, it looks like just circuits. That's
what I love about science fiction, because what we feel is normal can be mathematics, gravity, all those things might be the most foreign things to some other, especially not just alien races, but like dimensions.
Dimension, another reality. And it's also funny because I remember in Star Trek Next Generation, there was an episode like this where it was 2D, but the 2D dimension would move the Enterprise around. This one couldn't move it at all.
Yeah.
There was no interaction whatsoever besides the gravity of pushing it.
Yeah,
there was no other action.
So long one. So next paragraph. Be warned, my comments might get a bit confusing. Yeah, we really love it. That's what makes sci-fi so great. We can talk about it. What I really appreciated was the void space effect. They could have visualized the 2D universe into playing in a three-dimensional world, like in Doctor Who's Flatline, but they didn't. Instead, because they're inside of an anomaly, it begs the question, what is the void of space that the Orville occupies above or below the plane? Makes you wonder, in our world, there's some void spaces that we can't see. It incites people to ask questions, of which is a huge feat for a special effects department. And that's the thing, we don't know. Like the Lemoy was saying, like, "Whoa, is there beings watching us?" Like, we don't know. There's so much that he goes, potentially, I guess. Like,
but what worry about if you can't see it? There's nothing to, you can think about it, but don't let it.
You don't know it's there. You can't do anything about it. Just don't
worry about it.
But it's one of those funny things. Like, you're just like, "Hey, is someone really watching me right now?"
Well, they're not doing it all the time, and then you're like, "Okay, where does it go in this conversation?"
Then they continue. Prepare for a mind F below. The void space seems to stretch on forever, despite them being fixed into the plane. Maybe the void space is an area that can be facilitated in an infinite number of dimensions. It may be stretching in the attentions of the effects department, but I am not mistaken. Going through the anomaly flattened the other ships. If the anomaly really did have a shield, it would make no difference. The shield energy itself, made up of 3D particles, would be broken down through the barrier. Then can divulge into a plethora of new questions. However, I don't feel like they're writing a novel. They just ask. You do bring up a good point, saying, like, wouldn't the shield particles itself still be flattened? But I think that shield literally kept their space in their dimension.
I kind of like to remember when Lamar and Mercer were in their shuttlecraft, like how the outside part was flat, but the inside was 3D. That's what they were doing all around the ship. So that's how I see it. Like, they made it space.
I don't want to call them roundabouts, but basically that's what they are. Appeared flat from everyone else's angle, but from within inside of it, it still had its
so they just expanded it on the ship, but of course in the runway they didn't have enough to do it around there.
Because I think the show literally brought their dimension into their dimension, so that's why they were basically invisible to that 2D plane world. Again, I'm just. I mean,
we're not theorists when it comes to these kind of complicated mathematical things with outer space, but. Equations, but I think it's interesting to think about.
So, continue on, again, still in the same comment. Prepare for the fourth dimension below. Theory. The 2D aliens aren't 2D at all. The anomaly was a scientific experiment, but the whole thing is a farce. You're like, what? But hear me out. If what I said above about collapsing filled particles is true, then anomaly must be in fact in 3D space, or one of even more dimensions. Point being, the shield just prevented them from interacting with the 2D plane. How do you explain the collapsing ship then? Well, there was an experiment comes in. The anomaly could have been some sort of experiment that could safely contain an object with the properties as unique as the plane's. The plane might have an effect on the matter and energy, and the shield they use, like a debug code the creator of Alien might have used to get inside. They invent this to study the 2D world. And need a way to look inside without becoming 2D themselves. So they engineered this shield, the method of getting inside. They defined the fabric of reality within the anomaly to allow the shield and only shield to pass through. Keep in mind that the Orville only got 95% shield capacity or something like that. Since they weren't fully locked on the shields, it degraded over time. Same for the shuttle. If they had waited any longer, they would be fine and the crew wouldn't have had known the difference and flew and destroyed themselves. Episode solved. Sorry for causing a brain injury. It's just my fault after all. I think it's an interesting theory. Like, why was that even there? Maybe there was some fourth dimensional alien that was doing an experiment and the Orville just so happened to get in the way.
Probably.
Again.
Or maybe open up a gateway.
Yeah, and they did it by accident. Or
exactly, and just left it there.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating theory to think about.
There's so much when it comes. That's why, again, I always say I love science fiction, because it's always about what things could be. This is all theoretical, crazy science, but it's cool to talk about it.
Yeah, and the best way to do it is shows like this, because it makes it look at least possible, even though we can't get there yet. Maybe someday we can see these kind of things. Maybe not in our lifetime, but it's fascinating nonetheless.
And Harrison Smith says, also make a Discord. We would love to chat sci-fi movies with you two bros. I thought about doing a Discord, which is kind of like a live chat thing, like you go on it, but I don't know. We kind of like...
I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying, we have to be bigger, but...
We do have the Twitter that I post like our videos there, and I let know when videos are coming up and stuff. We'll see as things grow, especially there's going to be that lull after the Orville stuff, so I definitely want to keep the excitement going, talking about sci-fi.
We still have this week, and then also next week, so we still have time to talk about that before we think about doing anything like a Discord.
So, Scoldworm's our next comment, and another long one, so we'll probably stop every couple paragraphs to respond to what was being said. I'm building up my comments into one instead of flooding YouTube comments like previously. I mean, I got a big ego, but that's not that big, I think. We don't mind, however you want to do it. If you want to do one big long comment or a bunch of little ones, we don't mind. We'll read them.
It depends what you wanted, how you want to do it.
I love this episode. I felt 99% original. If this is a sign of what is to come in season 2, this is going to be a truly amazing series. They keep hitting it out of the park. I always say this, I'm waiting for that bad episode, and it hasn't happened. Yeah. It kind of makes me, like, when a team is going undefeated, you're getting worried about that loss. It's like, but they
haven't even lost, even if this is the playoffs, they haven't lost. And the thing that's so funny about it is, like, McFarlane is proving his shop as a sci-fi writer. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's telling how excellent he is. He's not just a comedic writer. He can really write sci-fi and do it well. I mean, it's amazing.
So, and they continue on, and I said 99% because I cannot feel, but the two-dimensional world kind of look inspired by Tron. I don't think that they ever stated in Tron, but it was implied that it was another dimension. Considering how weird quantum stuff can be and the add time and space rifts into the mix, it's plausible that Tron-like world might be out there in space somewhere. Then again, Tron was a 3D world, but regardless of the inspiration for this episode, I can't recall seeing a 2D dimension like that in any sci-fi before. Edit, yeah, Next Generation episode had a simpler 2D being surrounding the ship, but the 2D dimension instead of a higher intellect life. The Orville, the show, is boldly going where no one has gone before. And that's another thing. Yeah. It feels familiar enough, but it's also brand new at the same time.
Exactly.
They're walking that knife of being, oh, here comes all the old tropes. Yeah. But they do it so well that it feels so fresh and new, and then they do have new, fresh ideas.
It's like McFarlane, if he was on the poker table sci-fi, he just keeps coming with royal flushes. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
And the thing is, it came to the point to where it's like, wow, everyone thought this was going to be a big, utter failure, but here we are, 11 episodes in with great sci-fi episodes.
So far, a great success. I mean, it's on its way. If it continues on, I foresee another 2-3 years of this being on parallel with Next Generation Deep Space Nine. I honestly believe that, if it keeps on this path.
He continues on. I got a few complaints, though, but that's just the nerd in me whining. I kind of wanted to see krill ships get flattened into pancakes as passing through. The Orville kind of like a giant ship in Spaceballs does when it goes plaid. The other complaint I have is I wish we would have seen the 2D beings react to the Orville somehow. But I'm guessing being a 2D creature, they were unable to look up, which is not that's at odds since most humans tend to forget to look up as well. I'm not counting people with smartphones here. And the thing is, but didn't they say that bubble made them invisible to them, basically?
I don't even think they were really, truly interacting with that society at all. I don't think there was anything there.
They were phased out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it was like...
But when the krill ship passed through, for that moment that it was in that space, wouldn't they have had some type of sensor or something and saw that? Or did they just play it up just the way that... we see it as, like, miscellaneous sounds.
But again, for all we know, what if this dimension is just 2D energies?
And doesn't use visual...
Yeah, they're just non-corporeal. We don't even know.
Yeah, what if they don't even have a visual way of, seeing not things. The same way we see things?
Yeah, exactly. So they might even... to them, it'd be like us looking at, like, an invisible shadow. Like, they wouldn't even be able to comprehend what was there.
And it's funny, too, like, what would a 2D being look like? Like, without making it look funny or weird, I think they just avoided it. And just showed,
well, maybe to them they'd be 3D to them.
Yeah,
maybe that's their 3D, I mean, think about it. When they did the Dimensions in Voyager, they ran into that race that was all photonic, and they were just holograms. So, I mean, anything's possible at that point.
Yeah, I know. Continue on. I was a little worried too, though. I thought the Orville could end up disturbing the existence of those beings. Luckily, that did not seem to be the case. So we gotta change into the crew now. The chief engineer Newton leaving. Is he coming back? ? As Lamar takes his place. I wonder if he'll do double duty in engineering and also on the bridge, or if a new character will be introduced in the future for the bridge. Or maybe they'll do it like they do in Next Generation. There'll just be some random red shirt.
I think it'll be some random person. I guarantee it's going to be.
Because they kind of showed that lady that was on there, but she didn't say anything.
No.
So I'm pretty sure they're going to just kind of rotate
exactly
random person.
And they know Malloy's good enough. He can keep the energy going on his own in there, so...
And see, that's the kind of thing, though, because that'd be cool to have them call down engineering and have that interaction. Because we get a lot of that with the Forge. Would be like, Bridge, we got this going, and then you have that calm communication.
Or you can never do where he goes up to the bridge and then he puts his engineering console up onto the thing and he's all...
Yeah, so he can be on the bridge still.
On the bridge sometimes. Yeah, that'd be funny.
So, and like you said, I'm glad that world was... They didn't do anything to mess up that world.
I wasn't worried about that because I knew they were so different. I don't think they were going to interact at all.
So, next move, still moving on. The laugh out moment I remember in most is actually when the camera pans slow to Isaac petting Malloy. I'm sure if Isaac intentions made fun of Lamoy or not, he actually sees Lamoy as a pet or an animal. The facial expression of Lamoy was priceless. And like I said, he sees like, oh, human organic life is that lower life form, like how humans see cats. Oh, I guess I see him as like that pet animal. It's so condescending, but coming from Isaac. But was that him? Like, oh, these are like the practical jokes. Like, was he trying to be funny, or was he?
I think it was being serious. There.
He might have been serious. Either way, it's funny.
Oh yeah.
Either way, it worked.
It did.
Did I say I love this episode? I hope that the Orville keeps up the trend of this season into the next season. This is good sci-fi junk food. I truly hope we see the Orville branded still cups that we see that they drink from in the show, and the soundtrack album would be awesome. The music we can buy, and I'm sure that Yampit toy will be very popular, if not the little slimy, but sure, we can be shipped in a jar. And who wouldn't want an Alar or Bortus action figure, right? Oh yeah, and the Orville model kit and Legos, and I'm totally turned into an Orville now, haven't I? P.S. Malloy taking about the fourth dimension beings watching him. That's us, the audience. It kind of broke the fourth wall without explicitly doing so. Very clever. Well, yeah, I guess that was a shout out to like the people.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't think of it that way, but you could.
We're watching them, right?
Yeah, that's true. He looks at the camera now. So he would never do that.
And the thing is, I would love Orville merchandise. I know
we'll see it.
If you go on Amazon, there's people that make the patches, but that's all unofficial stuff.
Well, I'm waiting for the summer. Like I said, I've said this before, the convention season. We're going to start to hopefully see official stuff being made. Funko Pops, maybe.
Yeah, stuff like that. I did. The Funko Pops are probably going to be there, but I would again like old school action figures. They even made Trek action figures, yeah,
I would like to buy a Boris. I love Boris.
Boris is a cool character. He's super fun. But yeah, I would love even if the model kit was a Lego model kit, I would buy it. But I would want a traditional 1/45th scale actual model.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see an actual model before we see Lego, because Lego you have to be around for a while, so I don't know if we're going to see that right away. But I could definitely see the friggin' regular model kit. Why not?
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, the ships are cool.
So, and the same thread, we had a couple responses there. So, Francisco Carvalho, we need a new navigator. Hopefully the lady with the ridiculously large chest has 7 and 9 parity. It would be very humorous to see Malloy getting distracted by the new navigators. There was that lady on the thing. I didn't necessarily get a good look at her, but that would be...
No, I wasn't even paying attention, to be honest with you.
I just saw that it had a female face.
Yeah.
I wasn't really even looking at her. And Harrison Smith, maybe in the Orville, but we'll get old after a while. It would be funny, but Malloy is kind of that weird guy where he's always trying to crack jokes. It'd be funny. It would be to sit someone opposite of him that didn't share his humor. It'd be almost like where it's like he'll crack a joke and the person doesn't respond
But the thing
to
is,
it.
that's why you have Boris there for that already.
Yeah, so Boris is that guy who doesn't get anything.
Kind of the straight man who's kind of like that. And Isaac literally doesn't get anything because he's just a machine. So you already have that. You don't need, I think, a third person doing that. On the
I think, like we said before, they might just rotate a random.
Yeah, I think it'll be a random person. Guarantee it.
So, new comment now. Jeff the worker, Yampit is dying. You know what? I've read some interviews online, and people have pointed me to certain things that Seth has said about how Yampit's really expensive to animate and to put him the special effect in there. So maybe he's getting rid of him for financial reasons, which kind of sucks.
I like Yampit. Why can't they just send him off? Why can't they just have like?
But he'll die. But he'll die a hero.
Yeah. Or however, like they transfer his brain into a humanoid body. I don't care. Something.
No. I just thought of this right now. What if he goes and does this heroic thing and saves the Orville, but a little piece of him is left behind, and that little piece will eventually grow back into Yampit, but it'll take like forever.
So they'll do the Groot thing.
Yeah, I think that would work. I think that'd be a compromise. Again, if that ends up happening, I called it here first. I'm owning it.
Yampit's actually a nice person.
Yeah, he's actually a totally different personality.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
So, new comment here, Alex Barbu. Again, I apologize if I messed that up. With the Orville, I constantly find myself thinking how certain episodes could have been done in classic Star Trek. I love how you have to preface it with classic because you can't say that was like, whoa, Discovery. No, we don't count Discovery anymore. It's its own little monster.
Yeah, not a good one.
I would love to see Picard reaction when they face the 2D civilization. Kept expecting those 2D beings to somehow interact with the crew. I can't believe that quantum bubble wrapped the 2D space in such a way that the Orville was completely invisible, undetectable from their perspective. But how is it that they shuffle the shuttle, then 2D, nothing happened? Isaac tried to excuse it by saying that its footprint was too small. But from the footage, it seemed though it plowed through a lot of that circuitry. I don't think the excuse really holds, in my opinion. What I expected to see is the 2D being somehow realizing the Orville's presence was wreaking havoc on their 2D world and ended up helping tow the ship to the other dimension. Just because of 2D, why can't we see these aliens be smart enough to realize that their world is being affected by the stranded 3D visitor? Which that could have been a good way to solve the problem, too.
But we also have to remember, too, though, but Isaac said we can't even communicate with these people, so how would they even be able to interact?
I brought up, what if they don't even see the same way we see?
Yeah.
What if they don't have a visual way? Maybe
that's what I said. It might be energy. That's what I said.
They might have a totally different way of communicating.
Yeah.
So we practically just the presence of us would be invisible as they couldn't comprehend us as much as we couldn't comprehend them.
Exactly. It'd be like us comprehending a cloud, they wouldn't understand. I mean, they wouldn't even interact with that.
I know, and they kind of say like such a small footprint because we don't, what scale?
Yeah.
What they were looking at. Were they looking at that area from a trillion light years away, or were they right next to it?
Well, and not only that, also the one commenter earlier, I wish I could remember his name, said it maybe went on forever. Maybe it was so vast, you're just seeing it from a representation from Orville's perspective.
See, but when does that, what did that fissure in space and time, where did that begin and end?
See,
there's so much.
We can get into quantum physics, like not maybe from I would say an elementary way of it, because we're not going to be able to explain it on the scientific level.
My level about thinking that's preschool way. There's a lot of smart people out there who definitely know way more than I do.
The theories on it, definitely.
So we'll have to leave that there because I can't think of anything other without. I'm not smart enough. I apologize.
I can look at it from more maybe a philosophical way than I could that kind of
from an actual scientific
way. Yeah.
So new comment with James. Glad Lamar got a second episode featuring him. Last time in Geordi World, he didn't get any character background or growth, but this time we get to know more about him and not just a vehicle for the plot. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Majority Rule, even though I think it is an amazing episode, things were happening to him.
Yeah.
That could have been anyone in that situation.
And it was kind of funny. You want to know what talents he was in that episode? He had talents, but not talents that would help him get out of that situation.
I'm really smart.
I'm really smart. Does that help?
Can I do math on a chalkboard? Would that impress people?
No, I don't think so.
And it's all superficial things.
Yeah.
So him being smart would be no good thing.
Actually, it would have been better for Malloy in that situation because he's such an idiot.
But I do agree that episode wasn't really about him as it was about the world that he was in.
Yeah.
In this episode, actually, we got to know more about him, and we care more about him now.
Yeah.
I think everyone can agree that he became a better character.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the people that were going to cosplay as him, and then he gets the Lieutenant Colonel, and I got to fix my hair, got to put that.
Yeah, if anyone's even had their cosplay planned out already. Yeah. So, Marshall Diener. Again, I love dogs. You got a great pick there. My favorite scene was one you didn't mention. When all were working on the shuttle and Yampit asks if there's something he can help with, and Lamar gives him a task. Then the other three mumbling that this is all Yampit's fault, and Lamar just scolds him, tells him that he's a leader. He decided to go with Yampit's idea, and that it's his fault if it's anybody's fault, and that maybe people will stop trying to make him a leader because he's not. Then Isaac kind of looks at him and doesn't say anything. Just a powerful scene, like Isaac starts to see what Kelly sees. And again, I do apologize for not bringing that up. I did think about it, but I guess it just slipped my mind in the original review. But I do agree, it was a great scene. It was a wonderful scene.
It was excellent. There was so much going on in that scene,
and that's just good working as a team. I love that. Again, I call me, I don't know, old school, but I love seeing people work together from all different kinds of alien races and thoughts and backgrounds, but they came to a singular task and they came together and they figured it out with their minds.
I think some of my favorite Star Trek episodes, when there's a problem, they're all sitting together and trying to figure out how to solve it in a scientific way. I think that's so cool. I could watch that stuff all day long.
So, in the same comment, we have Super Phantom 100. Marshall Diener, yeah, I was surprised they didn't talk about this either. I really like this scene as well, because it shows that Lamar can be a leader and takes note from anyone. And that's the thing. That's a good part of being a leader, too, is sometimes you do have to be a little heavy-handed. You have to let this is how the ship's being run, and these are my expectations, and I'm not going to have crew members talking crap about other crew members.
And you saw when it was just a normal maintenance to get the engines up, then he was more relaxed, saying, if we do this by Friday, we all can go get drunk afterwards. So he knows when to kind of be soft, when it's not a dire straight situation.
And Lamar is a great people person.
Yeah.
That was what makes him a good leader. Something it shows to show that he can be that stern leader, too. So I think he has that good, people skills.
Exactly.
As well as being crazy smart, he actually knows how to talk to people too, which is really cool. And again, I put that fault on me not bringing it up because I did think about it, but I guess in the review it must have just slipped through me. But it was a great scene though.
Oh, it was excellent.
Time Like 01. I'm big into the science stuff, thus New Dimensions is my favorite Orville episode. Also, the episode had some really good humor. And yeah, unlike other shows where they try to put science stuff in there, but it just kind of falls to the wayside. This episode was big on the science. Like,
I loved it.
And everyone was shown to be smart. Like, they talked to Dr. Finn about, like, oh, these organisms. She's like, man, even from a medical perspective, I can only theorize.
But it's so funny. Even when Mercer doesn't think Malloy's up to task at first to be the engineer, when Kelly wants Mercer to consider it, they don't put Lamar down. It's no negativity. They think, I don't know if he really can do it. It's not like, well, I'm smarter than you, like, Discovery does with the engineer.
It's exactly. Yeah, you didn't see Yampit look at him. This is in your depth, but I'm gonna try to explain it to you because your little baby brain can't understand. Yeah. No one talked like that. No,
Yampit's like, okay, why are we doing this jello bean crap? Let's get instead just to solve this problem. It was more like that. Let's get past this. It wasn't necessarily, oh, you're not smart enough for this. It was nothing like that.
Which is so refreshing. Which is crazy. Something that's old is refreshing, but that's how it works out.
It works beautifully in this series so far.
So we have, I'm assuming it's Lazy Nerd, but it's LZY Nerd. I really like this episode, especially how they did the 2D space. When they mentioned they were going into it, I got word. I didn't think that they were going to be able to portray such an alien concept beautifully, but they did. I have no problem believing that that's how a 2D space would actually look like. Also, I'm really looking forward to the next episode. Most shows would either kill a main character only to bring them back next season, or make a background character seem more important than kill them off. It seems like the Orville has the courage to kill an important character if it improves the story. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. We're going to find out tomorrow.
But I don't want it, though. I
like all these characters. I really do, in varying degrees.
I care about all of them.
Yeah.
I care about their struggles, their fears, their accomplishments. I don't want him to die, but you know what? If it's to save the ship, that's what you do. The sacrifice.
Yeah. The thing is, like I even said before, I wouldn't mind losing Kelly, but
she's the one saying your sacrifice would be remembered forever.
I don't think so.
It can't be her.
It can't be her, but I wouldn't mind if it was her, but obviously it's not.
It can't be.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think if they do it, it's for the story, and Seth hasn't let us down yet.
No.
In this.
No, it's like, you know what? I totally trust you, Seth MacFarlane. I never would have thought I'd say that a year ago, talking about sci-fi and Seth MacFarlane.
So, Francisco Carvalho, great episode. Finally, Lieutenant Lamar makes us care about him. As already stated by the bill says, great HR human nature parody. Humans don't change even without currency. Positions are the new currency. Much better than the stiff, nobody ever gets upset at anybody, Star Trek Next Generation BS, but I don't necessarily agree with that. People did get on each other's nerves, but, I can kind of see how that was a more cleaner...
Well, funny, I watched a documentary, and it's kind of true. When Roddenberry was still alive during the first 4 seasons of Next Generation, he wanted people to act like, oh, we're beyond even all conflict. Well, that's not necessarily true. People still have, their emotions.
And then when he did pass away, the writers kind of got to breathe a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not necessarily true about all of Next Generation.
Yeah, but I can kind of see where you're coming from. Yeah. I can agree with that. And they continue. The 2D universe was wonderful and very Tron-like. We also get it from now that Data had Spot, the cat, and the pet, and now Isaac's pet is Lieutenant Lamar. Yeah, okay, he's in his room.
He strokes him, he takes off his leg, it's wonderful.
Yeah, if my cat took my leg off, there'd be some problems.
Yeah.
We also get to see Yampit as a very competent engineer and not just some comedy relief. Very good episode. Lamar, Geordi La Forge with a personality. Great review. P.S. Now that we have Ed, Captain Mercer, Ed, the freaking elevator guy, now we need his Eddie, and we have the Cartoon Network show. Ed and Eddie. I never actually I knew of that show, but it wasn't one of my favorites. No. But you bring up some good points there, and I kind of see what you said about Next Generation. The Orville is the dirty version of the Enterprise, where people crack a little bit more jokes. People are a little more off the cuff, and it's a little more. But I like both, and I understand.
Oh yeah, I think they both work well for what they were trying to do in their shows. It's kind of funny too because just the off the cuff stuff, it's so great. That's MacFarlane's humor to be able to do those little.
And that's one of the few things I was super worried. Like, oh, MacFarlane, he's gonna have these jokes. They're not gonna work in sci-fi. They're gonna seem so stupid. But man, does it. All the jokes, I didn't really hear a joke that was like, oh, that was a groaner, that was stupid. Yeah. All the jokes are pretty good.
They're either good to
and some of them actually make me laugh out loud, which is amazing.
Well, you're the Frankenberry.
Yeah, even little stupid jokes like that worked in the context of what was happening. The joke worked.
Exactly.
And, I'm glad the comedy is always present, but comedy takes a back seat when it's important, and the comedy took a back seat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean.
So, our next rodent claws. He has like a Santa Claus pic. That's funny. Lamar needed this episode as this transition, giving him an outlet that will give us more access to the engineering section. Shame about losing Newton. I really liked him. I can safely say I really do like all the main crew now. And if they actually do kill one of them off, well, any result is going to make me think, oh man, I really like them. I did like that we got a brief glimpse of what it was like for the kids on the ship, which is kind of interested in finding out after Into the Fold. And that the 2D mention was quite interesting. Love the shout out to Flatlands. All in all, it was another solid episode. Yeah, I'm glad. A lot of people kind of complain about the kids, but it does make sense that they're there and they didn't just go away forever.
Yeah.
They did show up again, which is cool.
I think they're going to be recurring every few episodes, which I have no problem with. It's fine. But it's funny, you were talking about, like, I don't know if Landry's referring to Doctor Who, they mentioned that.
Yeah.
And, like, Soupy's got a doghouse.
Yeah.
But be big inside. Yeah, okay.
That's so funny because they give you kind of the idea, like, oh, some people, then they go straight to the mother. You don't remember Snoopy? It's like, maybe for the people who didn't get that one, you'll definitely get this one.
It kind of makes me want to love about Orville saying, yeah, they still watch our old shows. Why wouldn't they? Why would that stop? But
yeah, that's another funny thing. Like, they're like in track, there's like no sports anymore, really.
Not really. I mean, they do have Police Squares and all that, but it's not.
Yeah, there's no college football. There's none of that kind of stuff. Which is funny because it's like, why would we ever stop?
Yeah.
I think it's too brutal or whatever, but there'd still be like basketball and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny because, like, even during Archer Time Enterprise, they had a funny little joke about that because one of the Vulcans were talking to Trip and goes, "Oh, someone from Earth wanted me to convey something to Archer. And it was Stanford 3, Texas 6." He didn't know that.
He's like, whatever that means.
Whatever that means is not football score. That's funny.
But it's cool that we. Even in how futuristic the Orville is, there's those connections that still bring us in.
Yeah,
even though they're used as jokes, it still feels like, oh yeah, it's connected.
Exactly. That's cool. I like that.
So we have Thinking Devil. This was an awesome episode. For the life of me, I'll never understand why the Orville is able to churn out one great episode after another, while STD stays true to its abbreviation and just gets worse and while untreated. And Lamar is going to be Scotty. He actually is Geordi La Forge. To all Next Generation fans, there should know that Geordi was the helm in the first season of Next Generation and became the chief engineer in the second.
Yep.
See, are they following that same
I think
path?
they are.
I think they are too, which is great. So hopefully he doesn't die. He's not the one who dies in the next episode.
Oh, that'd be awful.
I know. Wouldn't that be terrible if he gets his new position and he ends up dying? Yeah. We all know why they did then. His character was the most underdeveloped in Season 1 Next Generation. Not like the others like Beverly, Troy, Worf got too much development in Season 1, but at least they had some, even if marginal. Sadly, the same can't be said for Lamar until now. Social media episode was great, but wasn't really about him. He just was caught in the conduit to get the story going. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And it's funny, you guys mentioned Noon. Noon was more the meat and potatoes engineer.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of like, if Chief O'Brien was ever an engineer, he is that kind of, ability, that kind of guy. I got to get the job done on blue collar. He's not the super smart, Lamar.
Yeah, he probably is super smart, but it's also, he just comes off as so, I want to say uncle-like.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's like that fun uncle.
Yeah,
he just so happens to be.
It's not the same style.
Yeah. And they continue on. And we can debate till the cows come home if Seth did the Next Generation parallels on purpose, making the underdeveloped black guy on the ship to the chief engineer as the consensus homage, or if it's legitimately just the same problem with the character Next Generation had with Geordi in Season 1. I myself think it's the former, and simply too obvious, and did one better than Next Generation. It dedicated a whole episode to Lamar's change from the bridge officer to the chief engineer, while Next Generation was just presented with Geordi's new position without any sort of dedication to this. Yeah, that he kind of just ended up there.
Yeah.
This one actually built a whole entire story about Lamar seeing the potential, testing his potential, and seeing that it worked, and then he got the promotion.
Maybe, I dare Rafon would never say this. Maybe he says, you know what, I'm going to do La Forge, but do it better, more detailed. And I'm sorry, I think he did it better. Sorry, I have to admit that.
And that aspect of that character growth, from Season 1 to Season 2, he did it better. I gotta admit it.
Because you're kind of like, oh, Ford's engineer now. Okay, you accepted it, but it's like there was no story how he got to that.
So maybe I'm overanalyzing this, probably, but so far it looks like Seth not only writes a love letter to the Next Generation with the Orville, but he also corrects his mistakes by adjusting missing character moments from Next Generation. May Seth love letter to Next Generation and have many more pages in the future. And Isaac Payton Gordon was hilarious. I laughed my off on that one. And yeah, like I said, I've never seen something be an homage and an improvement at the same time.
Yeah.
Where they're taking all the great and wonderful things we remember about Trek previous of Discovery, and then bring it into this new world with a little more lighthearted, a little more funny, but also having great character development.
Yeah, and also there's no malice behind it. It's just doing it. That's what I love about it.
I just love the fact that people aren't so super crazy mean to each other.
No.
Those first 5 episodes of Discovery, it's like, can everyone be any more of a freaking jerk?
It's gone just a little better in Discovery, but my goodness, I mean, the way they're so condescending to each other.
Yeah, in this race of what's a better show, the Orville is starting to lap the Discovery 3 or 4 times while the Discovery just fell out of the blocks and just rolling down the track.
They're on impulse and Orville's at warp 15 right now, okay?
So we have Cross on our next comment. Cool, they got Lamar into a position with more stuff to do. But to be honest, I kind of wish the gel guy would have been promoted. They kind of skipped over him not getting the job, even though he was next in line. Good at his job, and to be honest, his team was kind of to him. So it would have been nice for him to be in charge of those a-holes. Nice to see the elevator alien back. It will be weird, however, not having Lamar wouldn't be on the bridge anymore. They will just have a red shirt sit in his place for now. That's a sweet gig. Lots of FaceTime. Not gonna lie, the 2D part kind of weird. Feel bad for the, hey, there he is alien funny part though. And it's, when it comes to comedy, and Seth knows comedy, it's the callback. He mentioned that situation.
And you forgot about it.
You forgot about it as a viewer. Then when it comes up again, you're like, oh yeah, it's that guy.
Hey, you guy.
Hey, there he is.
There he is. I love it. And he said exactly what he said before, like what he tells him. That's
I love callbacks. They're so funny. And again, I think for me personally, the 2D world looked weird, but how else are you going to do it?
I think you had to make it bright and colorful like it's there.
They had to make it so foreign and weird looking, but maybe that's what would look like. I can't be one to say I've never seen 2D space.
Yeah, that's what made it fascinating to me.
And the whole thing about the promotion, I can see either way, but Lamar did show, I want to say, grace under fire. He had to come up with an idea. And it wasn't like, we have to get the warp engines back online, blah, 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 we'll be safe. No, we're going to die if you don't figure this out.
Kelly says, I want to get the best talent for you to maximize their abilities on the ship.
As captain.
Yeah, and to captain to get this, so that way we can have the best running ship. And that's smart. That's smart to think like that.
And you're only as strong as your weakest link. Not to say Yampit was weak. I think Lamar his scores were higher, technically, and he proved himself to be a good leader, too.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like sorry, Yampit, even though you're next in line, we're doing this guy. Because next in line doesn't necessarily mean that's the best person for the job.
Yeah. And see, again, unlike SJW shows, it proved that it's going to be the one that has the most talent, the way it should be. Yeah,
exactly. Like an earlier commenter said, it's reversed. When you just promote someone just
affirmative action?
Yeah, it's a reverse affirmative action where it's done on merit and talent, not on, the surface traits.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm pretty sure if they looked at his file and they showed that he was just average, they wouldn't say, hey, let's make him a lead of a team. They wouldn't have done that.
Exactly. Yampit would have been chief engineer.
So, Timothy Neeson, very funny with the goo in Boris. So funny. I love the idea of 2D space. It all worked. It all... That whole scene with him eating a piece of Yampit was just kind of funny. Just because they hear Boris going, yeah, my stomach kind of hurts. And thinking, what? How can your stomach hurt? You eat non-organic things. How can your stomach? Because there was a piece moving in him. Because it was
also funny when he's going in. Was there a boot in there? I guarantee there was a boot because they probably had a meat pack.
Or some type of leather
or something. What the hell have you been eating, man?
Because, like you said before, there's 2 ways to go in. You get to pick. I'm picking my mouth. We're not going the other way.
I love it. He goes, when you're out promoting, this is a bunch of crap, and I've been inside a Boris's clone, there was so much crap in there.
Yeah, I haven't seen this much crap. That was in his colon.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So Cartoon Fan 959, Yampit is Yampit is best to go, as Seth in an interview that he is damn expensive to animate. Holliston Sage being the fiance of Seth is not likely to go. Like I said, I did read that interview, how Yampit it. So it also would give him a hero send-off.
Yeah.
Then, because we haven't gotten that storyline of sacrifice.
No.
That's happened in Trek before. So maybe that's a good way to end the seasons with the sacrifice episode.
Yeah. So did he say one of the crew members is engaged to?
Oh, no, being the fiance of Seth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the thing... I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but...
I don't either. I thought that's what he said. I didn't know. I'm going to have to look that up because I didn't even know about that. That's interesting.
So, GMAT6441, me too. I want Trek to be about working together. We could sure use that in the real world. Great review. You touched on some things about personal growth that other reviewers sort of passed over. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. We just talk about how we feel about the episode.
Oh, yeah, that's all we're doing.
I'm all about... I love personal... communications between people, how humans interact with each other, and sci-fi is a cool way to see people in situations that we can't create on this earth.
No.
But in the sci-fi future, how would people interact with each other? And I'm glad to see teamwork.
And also see humanity start to, be able to do those things with other aliens. And you
turn
see
the corner.
And to show humanity do it at its best. And I love that. I just do.
And people have their biases and prejudices,
Yeah.
and they have all those kinds of things. But when, the rubber met the road, they all worked together and they used their minds to solve the problem.
Yeah, there was no conflict.
I love that. Yeah. Even though, all the stuff that, joking on Yam Pit and all that, like, hey, we got to make this bubble. We have to come up with a thing to get this going so we all don't die. Yep. Yam Pit didn't just sit in a corner going, oh, they made fun of me, blah, blah, blah. No, they worked together.
Even hey, what can I do, guys? Can I help you with anything?
And he came to him, it was almost like in humility.
Yeah.
But he also wants to feel like, okay, I'm still contributing to the project.
Yeah, exactly.
And Lamar saw that. Instead of just saying, you've already helped enough already and blame him. No, he brought him back into the team.
Yeah, why don't you go work with the engines here or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, double check that stuff, do some diagnostics. I love that. Again, like you said, we could use a lot more teamwork in this world.
Yeah.
And that's what sci-fi shows us what could be.
Yep.
Not what should be, but what could be.
Exactly.
Jonathan Earl, if a main character dies in the next episode, it may be one of those episodes in which the ship gets caught in a time paradox. One of the crew members has to realize they are the time paradox, probably Isaac, and find a way to send a message to the time loop to prevent the accidental death of a crewman. That's happened in Trek before.
Yeah.
Where you kind of get that. But they already kind of did a time episode. So I don't know if they're going to get to the same kind of thing again. I think if there's going to be a death, for it to matter, it needs to be permanent. Or permanent enough that it's not going to be resolved quickly.
Yeah, until maybe years down the road.
Like I said, with the idea of maybe making Yam Pit die, there may be a little piece of him's left over, and then they're like, well, with this little tiny piece of him, is sent it back to his home planet, and in 50 years he'll regenerate.
Yeah.
Well, all of us will probably be moved on to other things, but Yam Pit will be alive again.
Exactly.
So maybe do it that way. It shouldn't be something where there's a sacrifice, and oh no, he saved the next second.
No.
Him or her, whoever happens.
It's got to be a while.
And very permanent, I would like. So, on our last comment, Celefanity Frog. Okay, if I had to pick one character to die, who would you choose? I will go first. I'd pick Clyden. Have fun eating ice cream in Mocklin Heaven. Bye-bye. I can't bear to lose any of the others. Who would you choose? Yeah,
forget Boris's husband. That's great. Let him die. And then a little baby has to raise on his own. Good one.
See, the funny thing about that is he's not a crew member, so he shouldn't be... No. He shouldn't have to sacrifice himself unless there's some weird, crazy situation where it's only him.
That would be odd.
Oh, man, what if they kill Bortus?
They better not. I love Bortus so much. I'll be mad.
But Bortus, very Worf-like, he would easily sacrifice himself for the lives of others.
Yeah, but again, do we have to copy everything Next Generation? Their chief medical Tasha Yars of security died. Now Bortus has to die. We don't have to copy everything.
But those are classic storylines of sacrifice, duty, honor. When you're in the muck and you're fighting, what really matters is your brothers and sisters to your left and to your right, and you fight for them.
Exactly.
And then if you have to sacrifice your life so the rest of the crew can live, that's that sacrifice that you do, and that's a very human, heroic ideal that we all look to. Yeah. That maybe in that time, if we have to sacrifice for our loved ones, we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, the thing is, if it's Boris, it could be anyone to do, but if it's someone like Yam Pit, it's maybe something only his body could do because he's a jelly.
Or maybe he'll have to interact with 10 different things at once.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that might be it, but that's why if it goes that way.
And then there was a couple responses to that comment. Francisco Carvalho, a very hard choice. I care for all of them. And then Super Phantom 100. Sadly, I think it might be Isaac. But that's the thing. Would Isaac sacrifice himself for lesser beings?
Because again, he's there to observe, not to die.
But they have shown that his mind can be put in the computer. See, that's another cop-out. Don't do the cop-out. Let someone die. Let it have impact. Let it be real. At least let it be real for a while.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know it's not going to be Kelly.
It can't be.
I get Kelly. Oh, jeez.
It can't be Mercer. But like I said, Alara, she's a security officer or some type of security situation, diffusing a bomb or something like that. Yeah. She goes down there and maybe she's the only one that can lift up a thing.
And the thing is, I know Boris, I said earlier, he's not head of security. He's the third in command. But he would be the type who would sacrifice himself, so that would make sense. I hope it's not Catan. I like her a lot.
I like her a lot too,
but
it fits her character that she would sacrifice.
Yeah.
Because maybe she's thinking about that other guy that died. And
maybe it's a situation where she's going to sacrifice herself and someone knocks her out and they take her place. That's happened in Star Trek.
That's happened in Trek before too.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's so much in that episode's tomorrow. So we don't have long to find out.
See, if it's a two-part and they're alive the next episode, I'm going to be so mad at Fox for splitting up these episodes.
Yeah, because that's crazy because we're not like, Orville returns in 2 months. No, it's going to be a while.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Why can't you do it like other series when they have
because
the breaks?
Discovery had its break and it's coming back in January.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the thing is, but there's not something to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's going to end the comments. Again, you guys made us think of new things, new theories, ways of seeing 2D space, how that could all work. And that's just amazing. That's why I love science fiction, gets people to think.
Yeah.
And you guys are some of the greatest thinkers, coming up with cool ideas and theories and different ways of looking at stuff. I love it.
I mean, again, that's the whole debate when people say sci-fi or fantasy. Fantasy doesn't make me think like this. I don't mind fantasy, I don't. But sci-fi is the one that has so many different theories.
Because, sci-fi is something that may happen.
Yeah.
Well, dragons and wizards aren't going to show up on Earth. But we may develop a quantum drive and get to outer space. Those things are possible.
Yeah.
I love Lord of the Rings, but it's not possible. It's not something that could happen. Science fiction is something that could happen.
I'm not saying it's simple, but...
it's just different.
Yeah.
But this makes you think about it real life. What if we did have these things?
Yeah.
Say, well, what if I did have a magical sword and a wizard and went on an adventure? Well, that's never going to happen.
No.
But, I feel kind of bummed. I kind of didn't want to make this video because I know we're just one step closer to not having...
Yeah, then we're going to have our review episode, and then we're going to talk about comments, and then we'll do our top 10, and after that...
we'll do stuff like that, and if there's other things popping up, news stories...
Oh, yeah,
we'll
definitely we'll talk about it.
Again, this would be a perfect time for maybe a novel to come out. Maybe a comic book series, you know.
Take a cue from Mass Effect, how they're doing it.
Yeah, there's a novel for the latest game. Yeah. And there's novels for Discovery that take place before the show. Yeah. So, why can't we have some Orville novels, maybe about another chef?
We'll definitely we'll read it and we'll do a review.
Yeah, if there's anything like that comes out, we'll definitely do a review of it. So, again, thank you guys all for the comments.
I love all the comments. I think they were excellent.
And some of you guys are really funny, come up with different ways of thinking. And make sure, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, C15 Podcast on Twitter. Hit us up there. I post, when videos are coming up. If I'm, finalizing a video, I'll put something, in the next couple hours, the next one will be up. So you can interact with us there. We both have access to it, so we just comment on that kind of stuff. So that's going to wrap it up, unless you have anything else.
I say great episode. The last episode, I'm going to be sad afterwards, but it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see it tomorrow.
Probably, again, if barring somehow if this last episode's a complete bomb, which I don't think it's going to be, best new series I've seen in forever.
Oh yeah,
that's a completely brand new idea.
Oh yeah,
because there's great shows like Daredevil and stuff like that on Netflix, but that's already was a property.
But it's amazing to do a new thing, especially I'll be honest, sci-fi is hard. It is hard to do a Star Trek type of show and be good. It is. And
not be stupid and campy and silly or super dark and gritty and just off-putting. They walk the tightrope and, man, they get to the other side.
Yeah, this look like these are characters that have been well-established for years.
Yeah.
And years and years and years. I know McFarlane's been writing this for years, but my goodness, did he come out on the gates. I mean, just awesome.
Yeah, this is that Rookie of the Year, without a doubt.
Oh, my goodness. This is the equivalent of, Will Chamberlain coming in as a rookie.
Yeah.
Averaging 30 points a game. Just insane.
So, again... We love every single one of our commenters, even if you agree or disagree. We love the conversation.
Yeah.
And I've been your host, Crimson Sin.
May 15 PCA.
Thanks for watching.
See you later. Bye.